The Pack is back, and so are we with our first official episode of the 2022-2023 season. The first preseason game is upon us, and this past week, a Packer legend was inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame. We've got a special guest from the community who is there to tell us all about it. Plus, we've got your feedback and more, all next on your Packers Fan Podcast.
Welcome back, friends. This 12th season of your Packers Fan Podcast is really underway now. Wayne Henderson from MediaVoiceovers.com with you, and I just got a new prescription in my green and gold colored glasses, and man, I am pumped up over how the Packers are coming together so far.
And I'm Scott Clark from The Gaming Outsider. I am super excited to be back here once again with Wayne. It has been way too long, my friend. Plus, it's time to talk about Packers football again. What's better than that? On this 252nd edition of your Packers Fan Podcast, Packers great Leroy Butler is officially in the NFL Hall of Fame. We're excited to be joined this time around by listener Dan Dyler, also known as Pack Sparrow, who made the trip to Canton to witness Leroy's enshrinement.
And then we're going to take a quick peek at the upcoming Packers preseason games, and we've got your listener feedback to share, as is tradition. I wanted to start off with some special thanks to everybody who took the time to nominate the Packers Fan Podcast in the 17th Annual People's Choice Podcast Awards. It's greatly appreciated. We did not make the finals this time around, but knowing that so many of you submitted your nominations for us blows my mind. On the other hand, Sir Troy and Superfan Aaron's Hollywood Outsider podcast did make it to the finals, as did their Blacklist Exposed podcast.
Yeah, congratulations to those guys. There's just too many fantasy football podcasts out there, man, that we have to compete with, but we're still going strong. Also, thank you to those who listened to the Packers Fan Podcast in one of the Podcasting 2.0 iPhone or Android apps and streamed us some Satoshis while listening. Satoshis are a very small fragment of a Bitcoin, but every bit counts, so thank you once again. Let's go ahead and start things off. We've mentioned it a couple times already. I'm very excited to talk about it. Former strong safety Leroy Butler is officially the latest Green Bay Packer to be enshrined in the NFL Hall of Fame. Oh, and inventing the Lambeau Leap is another achievement we're all very happy about. And we've got a very special guest joining us this week who was actually at the ceremony here. You've heard his name several times on this podcast. He's got a very cool nickname, Pack Sparrow, but it gives me great pleasure to welcome to the show, Mr. Dan Dyler. Dan, how you doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing great, Scott and Wayne. Thanks for having me on and be able to share this story of his Leroy Butler's enshrinement and my visit to Canton, because I think a lot of it might motivate listeners to get out there, because I think it's a great place to go out there. And like we were just talking about a little earlier, it's no longer just a place you go for the day. It's a place you go for a 2 or 3 day weekend.
Oh, wow. I just didn't even think about that. So there's just like lots of things to do while you're like walking around there?
They're currently in phase 2 of operations. They have a third phase also planned. They're wrapping up phase 2, which they said it's, I've talked to some of the locals, and they're talking about finishing up towards the end of September. They're going to have like a Ferris wheel. They got a zip line. They got an outdoor, like a kind of small, intimate, amphitheater to have music and concessions, and that's not even in the Hall of Fame. That's not part of the stadium where the high school plays or where the enshrinement actually takes place. So they're adding just a lot of things to make it a place kind of like Lambeau Field in the Titletown district.
Cool. So basically, they're both getting better and better all the time.
I was there in 2010. And I drove in there. I didn't recognize the place. I didn't know where to park. I didn't know where to go. I ended up parking by some houses for free and walking across the street and getting on a zip line just randomly. I didn't even plan on doing any of that.
Wait. You got out of your car, walked over, and just hopped on a zip line?
Yeah. They call it the forward pass. You get on it, and it's like cool. Like a little two-person gondola, and they lift you up because they talk about a forward pass. So when you bring your hand back and to throw, so it takes you back 100 yards, and then you go down 100 yards.
Oh, I see. That's pretty cool.
I'm glad there were no fumbles or anything.
I was strapped in well.
Oh, cool. And can you tell us a little bit about, your general feel of some of the highlights around the trip to Canton? I mean, we've been wondering, how does an esteemed pirate such as yourself, Pack Sparrow, navigate the hustle and bustle of Canton, Ohio?
Well, there wasn't a whole lot of water. Getting around there, it was all on foot. You walked, like I said, you walked to the areas where there was the outside area of the Hall of Fame, because they also have 8 football fields, so they can host like different tournaments for sports teams, so they can come in, but they also have the attraction of the Hall of Fame and the other things that are out there as far as shopping and the entertainment, the amusement park type rides. My jaw was on the floor almost all the time. And this is my fourth trip. It was my fourth trip to Canton. I went.
Fourth?
Yeah, I went in 20.
Wow.
I went originally in 2010. I was doing a cross country road trip from Virginia to California on my way to get stationed over in Hawaii. So I went for Brett Favre's induction, and I went for Jerry Kramer's induction. I didn't get to go to Bobby Dillon's induction in 2019 due to the pandemic, which I totally forgot about who Bobby Dillon is. Do you even know who that is?
I know who A.J. Dillon is.
He is the Packers all-time interception leader.
Oh, nice.
And he played in the 30s.
Gotcha.
So he's been around for a hot time, and they don't think he had so many interceptions and all that kind of good stuff. But anyways, back to Canton. So my first day there, after being totally turned around, and things were flipped around too, because the induction ceremonies normally are around 7 p.m. And today, or on last Saturday, Journey was going to be playing. Don't
Nice.
stop. The all-time karaoke song right there. So they had it at noon, and this is also one of I think the first induction ceremony that didn't include a first ballot Hall of Famer since I think 2006. So you're not having your Brett Favre's or your big, your Peyton Mannings and that kind of thing. So the stadium was only about I think it's around a 22 or 23,000 capacity stadium, which, mind you, this is also a high school stadium. So they had it at noon. So it was really strange, getting up. I got into town at 2 a.m. after a trip to Cedar Point, and then I got up about 6:30 so I could get out there real early and just take it all in. And just walking around and meeting different fans, which is that's my favorite part of going to games, is meeting fans.
Absolutely.
I'm a fan of fans. Tailgating is the best part of going to a game. The game's more like the cherry on top. But just meeting other people, meeting new people, meeting good people. And I know, Scott, you've talked to this point, I think, a couple of times in the last season's podcast about how you really truly appreciate when you have a good fan that you get to meet for the first time.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that just, anytime I get a chance to meet somebody in person that I've interacted with online is just always a joy. It drives my wife crazy because she hates it. When we're on vacation or something, I'm like, I gotta go talk to a listener. I gotta go talk to this and that. And she's like, can we just go to dinner like by ourselves? So totally get it.
It's kind of interesting that it was moved to 12 noon in that time zone. I had to double and triple check my DVR just to make sure, because it didn't seem right coming on at 9 a.m. here in California. Do you think that's mostly because there weren't first ballot Hall of Famers, or do you think it has more to do with the fact that the NFL is trying to spread out more into Europe, and they wanted to make it available for other countries to be able to watch it without staying up till 2 a.m?
I really think it was probably a bit of all three, because not only did you not have any first ballot Hall of Famers, but as we know, the NFL is really trying to spread to the other countries. But third, Journey may have been a bigger draw than what was there. I mean, I hate to say that, but you look at the names on there, and like, if you're a serious football fan, or if you're into fantasy football, you probably didn't know too many of those names that were on that list. But they all are very, very well deserving. That was one of the things I did some research. Only 22,000 players have ever played for the NFL. There are now 362 in the Hall of Fame. That's 1.5% of all those who have played. in a little more perspective, in any given year in Division One football, there are 170,000 athletes in Division One football. And you're talking about your Wisconsin Badgers, your Crimson Tide, your Iowa Hawkeyes, your Chicago Bears. Wait, oops.
Oops.
Took me a second. So can you tell us about the actual Hall of Fame induction ceremony? Like, what was that like? I've never actually seen it before. So what kind of went down there?
So it's kind of like going to a concert where you have it's the football field, so that they got the flooring down there and they got the seating down there and everything. You go through security and all that kind of good stuff, and you just kind of wait around. And I think because it's all football fans, like if you're going to the induction ceremony, you're not just the casual general public fan.
Mm-hmm.
That usually that the NFL I think caters to, and why they're doing so many things to try to, I guess, make more revenue. You're getting the true diehards that love football. They love the fans. So like before this ceremony, you're just kind of milling around, talking to other fans, and just having a good time. It's kind of like a tailgate light, to put it
That's
that way.
interesting. I wouldn't have expected that at a Hall of Fame ceremony. But did you find, because I imagine that it's obviously not just Packers fans. You're having fans of all the teams there.
Absolutely.
Was there any like animosity, or was everybody just kind of bonding together over their love of football in general?
Everybody was just like coming up, like if they saw you, especially the people that were dressed up, like they were coming up and like really like kind of get a picture with you. I was in this Pack Sparrow, and I mean I just had my cheese head and jersey on because I didn't want to disrespect the players that were being enshrined. The Hall of Fame enshrinement ceremony, in my eyes, is about the players. It's not about the fans, but it's kind of integrated. They had a lot, like for somehow I don't know how this happened, because especially with Devontae Adams going to the Raiders, with Jordy Nelson going to the Raiders, with Charles Wilson going back to the Raiders, and all that kind of stuff. I happened to be in a row with three other Packer fans, and everybody else in front of me, the entire section, were Raider fans.
Oh,
So but they were.
Yeah, I saw those on TV. In fact, I saw you on TV because when one of the other inductees gave a shout out to Raider Nation, I could see you with your cheesehead behind him, dancing, having a good time. You're famous on TV.
Apparently, that happens once in a while.
And how about the ceremony itself? How cool was that?
It was so awesome to see these men like give their heart out. I was really shocked after. Let's see, the last two I'd been to was Brett Favre, who owns the record for the longest Hall of Fame speech ceremony. I think his was clocked in at around 36 minutes. And Jerry Kramer's at like 82 years old, his clocked in around 28 minutes. Leroy Butler's, from the time that he was announced, they did the unveiling of the bust, and his speech was 6 minutes and 11 seconds.
Wow.
I was like, in and out. That really kind of shocked me, because Leroy Butler, after watching when he got the knock on the door from Charles Woodson, that whole part took, I think, about 30 minutes. I mean, that was just the extended cut, I guess, on the NFL Network. And a couple of things that he said, that Leroy Butler said, that really struck home with me were what I mentioned earlier about only 362 have been inducted now. But also, he said when you become a Green Bay Packer, a lot of doors open for you. When you become a Super Bowl champion, all the doors open for you. But when you're inducted to the NFL Hall of Fame, heaven's doors open for you. And that I just got goosebumps thinking about hearing that and him saying that, because it's absolutely true.
Yeah, and even though it was only about 9:30 in the morning my time when Leroy finished up, I admit that I got teary-eyed.
I absolutely did.
I thought it was beautiful.
I absolutely did.
Very cool. And I know you got some awesome photos that you've been sharing on social media. Can you tell us about some of those? Which ones were your favorites and how they came about?
So right before the ceremony, it was about 11:30. Like I said, noontime. We'll call it kickoff. Had to go to the bathroom, and I wanted to go and do some window shopping in the Hall of Fame gift shop there, see what they had and see how overpriced it was. I'm coming out of the bathroom, and there's a door that's right in when the players come in their golf carts and they get escorted in, there's a door that's to the right of the main doors. Well, they come in that door, and then there's an elevator that takes them up one floor, and then they walk into Paul Brown Stadium, or not Paul Brown Stadium, that's in another city, Paul Benson Stadium, and that's how they get up there. And I'm coming out, and all of a sudden I see Emmitt Smith, and then I see Steve Young, and then I see Lawrence Taylor, Mel Renfro. He's a classic Dallas Cowboys player. Cliff Branch, I met his brother and his family. Paul Tagliabue, old NFL commissioner. There were so many NFL players, Hall of Famers, that were wearing their gold jackets. Some of them I didn't even know just because they're older. Or it's kind of strange when you watch the games on TV. You don't really see their faces, especially as they age. Like Leroy Butler, he waited 15 years to get his call. So that means he's been out of the NFL for 20 years. So you're going to look a little different. But just seeing all those players, it gave me goosebumps. I got a selfie with Steve Young, even though he was the bane to our existence in the 1990s, along with Joe Montana. I don't typically get starstruck, but like seeing these guys come through and being like, I could just reach out and shake their hand. And there's a couple of them that didn't, but I wanted to be respectful of their space, and not like ask for selfies and all that kind of stuff. But Steve was doing it with other fans, so like I did it with him, and I wanted to respect their space, and so like just getting a picture of them was just really cool and being that close to the greatness. Like I said, 362 out of over 22,000 players was really special. To me, at least, as a fan of the game, and not just the Green Bay Packers, but of course, just loving it.
And so it's good advice, you would say, Dan, to make sure you use the restroom about a half hour before any big event, because you just never know who you're going to bump into.
Especially if you've been partaking of some libations.
Yes.
I thought he was maybe there to be your lawyer, your legal representation, just in case something went down. But he was there as a football player. Okay, that's fair enough. And then I guess it was probably the next day, because who has time on that same day? Tell us a bit about the actual Hall of Fame as it is now. Would you say it's a must visit for fellow Packers fans?
Absolutely. The Packers were one of the 12, I believe, initial charter members of the NFL. They started in 1919. And if you look at some of your Packer gear, you'll probably see a lot of it says 1920 or 1921. But the Packers were initiated, with Curly Lambeau in 1919, and they came into the NFL at 1921. So that's why there's kind of some of that disparity.
Right.
But it just the Hall of Fame uses a timeline as you go through the different sections of the museum, and of course it starts. You got to start with George Halas, Papa Bear. You got to start with the Packers. You got to start with the New York Giants and the Canton or the Decatur Staleys, which was the former name of the Bears. So it just goes through the progression of how that happened, the progression of different types of equipment that they used through time, from
Leatherheads.
Yep, from footballs with there's even one that looks like what do they call those full masks that the Knights of the Round Table used? Like they actually had a full face helmet with just like eye holes and a mouth cut out.
Did they try that for a season
they
or two?
did, but the players were getting too hot.
Yeah.
Which you can understand.
That's for sure. So it's more than just all the busts.
Yes.
Cool.
And then, so you get through the initial early histories from the 1900s and then up to probably the 1960s when football really started taking off. When, obviously that's when they started the Super Bowl and the AFL NFL merger. And then you go into the room with all the busts. And I'm sure you've heard many people talk about, you're looking at all these busts of all these great players and you think about, and it's like Night at the Museum. Are these guys talking? What are they saying? Could you imagine a conversation with those men?
Oh man, especially Reggie White.
Yeah,
You just came up with a great movie idea, man. I think you should patent that because I want to watch that movie.
Then you get out of the bus and they go into the NFL locker room, the Hall of Fame locker room, and they have these seats, and they use the Pepper's Ghost effect, where they have like the glass and of the projection, and Joe Namath comes on the screen, and he starts talking about all the greats, and you get like the inspirational quotes from all these different players, and that wraps up again with George Halas and Vince Lombardi. You can't chase perfection, but if you chase greatness, or if you chase perfection, you can achieve greatness. Those kind of things. And they also have like seat buzzers, so like you're sitting in these bleacher seats, and so you're like, oh my god, it like really it wakes you up, and it's really loud. Like if you have sensory issues, not the place to go. A lot of bass, a lot of buzzing, a lot of really good inspirational quotes, and it kind of like it really motivates you just as a person to go out and try to achieve greatness, to be a better person, to be kind, to do the things that these players have done, to do what, because they don't get there by themselves. They know they rely on their teammates, their fans, their coaches, and it was a really inspirational multimedia experience in there.
That's awesome. So what's next for you, Dan? Is there a chance that Pack Sparrow may appear in the crowd in London on October 9th?
Tickets are booked. The airline, the airline tickets are bought. The hotel is bought. Not the whole hotel, the room.
Why not?
And got our tickets. I'll be going with Jill and 3 other buddies that are. 2 of them are Green Bay Packer fans. One's a Washington Commanders fan. He's
interesting.
Well, they all live on the East Coast, and they used to work for the same company, so they all became good friends. And I ended up meeting them at a draft party down in Virginia when I was stationed down there, and they're just really good people. And they're the Washington Commanders fan. He's always been a very good sport. He even went to the NFC Championship game down there in Atlanta and wore a Packer jersey for us.
Oh, wow. That's cool. So I assume you're going to be wearing the Pack Sparrow get-up in London? There's probably a good chance that you would get on TV out there, man, if you wore that.
Yeah, I'm probably sure I'm going to have to start walking into the game pretty early. In my experience, everybody wants a photo and all that kind of good stuff. And it's just fun. Like I said, it's fun. I'm not doing it for me or anything. I just do it because it's fun. And I like talking to other people about the sport that we love.
Do you think you'll add a little bit of an international flair to Pack Sparrow for this special trip?
From what it sounds like, yeah, we've been talking with Dictus and Combe and about wanting to meet up, and it sounds like there's going to be quite a few European fans there, probably more than Americans. So there's only right. Chances are there's going to be a flair from the American side, of course.
And of course, Brett, hopefully he'll make it there
Brett.
as well. I want to see a group photo. Yeah. If you guys could pull that off, that'd be fantastic. Can you believe it sounds like it's forever away, but it's only 2 months away.
I was just looking at the calendar, at the preseason calendar, because games start this week of preseason, and I'm like, oh wow, it's 2 months away, and 2 months it's going to be here before we know it.
Yeah, it's going to be so awesome that football's just around the corner. And, we would be remiss if we didn't thank you, Dan, for all of your support of the Packers Fan Podcast, not only on Patreon, but your involvement with the other fans. You're helping to promote our affiliate link at Fanatics and all this other good stuff. You're a super diehard, and we appreciate it. And we're glad we were able to have you be kind of like a special correspondent for the NFL Hall of Fame, because this is a great year for Leroy Butler, and who knows, will there be another Packer going in before Aaron Rodgers?
I was looking into that, and I can't think of too many. Maybe Bakhtiari.
I'd love to see Sterling Sharp make it, but I just don't know.
I know
like you said, it's such a small percentage.
I know his brother's been a big advocate of him going in.
I believe it.
'Cause, yeah, before
I got one other question, and I have to assume the answer is no. But was there any Lambo leaping being done during the ceremony? Because I mean, he invented it, right? Like, or any reference to it, even.
he he did not reference it, and I was kind of shocked of it. But when he was introduced, it was, I think it was in the introduction, which I don't know why it wasn't. I've been trying to find it on YouTube. Couldn't find it, but I can't remember who his presenter was. I want to say Chris Berman mentioned it in his before the presenter came on, though, because he was talking about all the eight different inductees.
And it was great to see Gilbert Brown be involved, and he looks totally different than in his playing days.
He lost some weight. he looks.
What a spectacle!
He looks about 100 pounds.
Did you say gravy
less.
digger?
Grave digger.
No, the grave digger, not the gravy digger.
I thought you said gravy
Scott.
digger. I was like,
see, Dan, what I have to put up with. Just be sure to mention Save Our Bacon, and Scott will really get confused.
I really appreciate you guys having me on here, just to share the experience with our fans of the podcast, and hopefully we can get some more listeners this year. I'm friends with a lot of the there's an organization I want to plug for the PFUFA, the Pro Football Ultimate Fans Association. If you look at the pictures that I took with like the other fans that were like from the Detroit, Vikings, and they are a really great group of people. And if any listener has questions or they want to go to an away game, I have connections that can help them get with the fans that are fans of fans, because that's one of the things that they are. They support and love the people that are even from other teams.
Nice.
So that's they do a lot of charitable work with between Kiwanis and their own organizations within their own teams, and they've helped. They even have these. You obviously the listeners can't see it, but they even have these baseball cards of all their because they're actually inducted into the PFUFA, just like the Hall of Fame. So they have their weekend at the during the enshrinement week, and they usually induct 4 to 5 fans into their fold, who are upstanding members of their community and promote charitable stuff and are just good fans of the fans.
Very cool. When can we nominate you for
you have to be nominated
in that?
by one of their own.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not able to do that.
I'm working on it.
Was there anything we forgot to touch on about your Hall of Fame spectacular weekend?
The Dave Robinson story, maybe, which is kind of a random. I don't know if
what
you
is
want
that
to.
story?
So
it's Dave Robinson.
As I'm going through the Hall of Fame, I was taking a picture of some gloves that were worn by former linebackers, coach of the Green Bay Packers and Pittsburgh Steelers, Kevin Green. And these are the gloves. These were the gloves that were worn by him when he sacked Warren Moon to become the all-time sack leader at that time. Well, all of a sudden, I get this comment from behind me. Says, "Oh, you've never seen a pair of gloves before?" I'm like, no. And I turn around. It's a buddy of mine. His name's also Wayne, and he's a member of that PFUFA group. And we'd talked the day prior, and basically we just said hi and how you doing and enjoying the weekend, about the pleasantries. And all of a sudden his phone goes off, and he goes, "Oh, it's Dave Robinson." Because you get that kind of a call every day apparently when you're Wayne. and I follow him outside just because I'm curious, and right in front of the main entrance of Canton, where you can't drive unless you're one of these players, out of the car, the driver's seat, is Dave Robinson. And
nice.
I was just so
nice.
Wow. It's just Dave Robinson. Whatever. He just said it like it was a call from his wife.
I'd love to go to the Hall of Fame induction one of these days, but even if I don't do that, I understand that going to the actual Hall of Fame any time of year is pretty much mandatory for diehard football fans.
I have to share, the first time I went was in 2010, and I took a picture of the Lombardi Trophy. Now, they do have the Lombardi Trophy that is going to be awarded to the winning Super Bowl team that year. So it's already out on display. Whoever plays in Phoenix this year, which, of course, one of them is going to be the Packers. Of course. And whoever else is going to be losing to us. So they actually have that trophy out there already. Oh, that's right, because there was the leak.
Oh, really?
That's right, because there was the leak. So in 2010, I took that picture, and I was wearing Clay Matthews' jersey, and you can see Clay Matthews' number in the reflection of the Lombardi, and we won that year.
Oh.
And one of the most pivotal plays of that game was when Kevin Green said, "The time is now, the time is now," and he made that fumble, and we recovered, and that was a big tide turner. Well, so I haven't been actually inside of the Hall of Fame since then until this year, because normally it's so crowded, it's not enjoyable during the Hall of Fame enshrinement weekend. And I took my picture of Leroy Butler's reflection in the Lombardi Trophy. So 2022, it's our year. Well, 2023, but you get the idea.
We get the idea, Dan. Pack Sparrow. We really appreciate you coming on this evening, being part of the show this week to kick off the 12th season in fine style. And, before we let you go, do you want to make a quick guess now that we've been through most of training camp? How are the Packers going to do this year?
I'm still sticking with my my former prediction of 12 and was it 12 and
12 and 5?
Yeah, 12 and 5, same as Scott's.
See?
Okay.
See, Wayne? That was.
You guys are very conservative.
Yeah.
But I love it. Well, we'll let you get back to designing your outfit to take to London. It's going to be interesting to hear how packing that type of, so to speak, outfit for the trip is going to come together.
Oh, it's going to be great. I can't wait. 2 months.
Pleasure chatting with you, man, and thanks so much for stopping by. It was some really cool stories there.
It was great talking with you guys and sharing the story of Canton with the listeners and you guys. Go, 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 Pack, go!
The preseason. Yeah, I know, preseason. It is upon us. Remember, now that we have a 17-game regular season, the preseason's only 3 games. You take the first one, Scott.
Thank goodness. I am so glad only 3 preseason games, because I would much rather have, 16 games of actual football instead of preseason. You know me, I've said this in the past. I don't pay as close attention to preseason because we're not seeing the starters, and it doesn't matter, and it's not cold out, so it's not football. But you know how it goes. Anyway, the first game is on Friday, August 12th. It will be at San Francisco against the 49ers. It will be at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time on the Packers TV network. This is the first time since 2015, which took place at New England, that Green Bay starts the preseason as a road team. So there's your little interesting factoid.
Oh, man, adjust your betting for that. Betting on preseason. And then the following Friday, August 19th, we host the Saints at Lambeau Field at 7 p.m. Central Time. The matchup against the Saints is designated as the Packers Give Back game, with a charity to be highlighted throughout the game and surrounding activities. So that makes it almost like a family night, even though it's a preseason game, because of all of the charity stuff going on, which is awesome.
And then last one of the preseason is on Thursday, August 25th, which will take place at the Kansas City Chiefs, again at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time on the Packers TV network. Green Bay was actually scheduled to close out the 2020 preseason in Kansas City, but the entire preseason was canceled due to COVID-19. Also, fun fact, Wayne, I don't know if I've told you this, but my wife and I are actually going to Kansas City this weekend to celebrate our 17th anniversary. And we are actually going to do a tour of Arrowhead while we're down there. My wife and I, as I've mentioned in the past, are trying to tour every NFL stadium before we die. And this is the next one on our list. So I will definitely be posting some pictures. I will have my Green Bay Packers shirt underneath something else.
Your formal wear.
Exactly. Got my formal wear. Yeah. But I'm looking forward to that. So stay tuned for more info. This is going to be, let's see, done Green Bay, I've done Chicago. And I've done Minnesota, so this is our fourth. I know we're just getting started, but yeah.
Well, this is
definitely looking
this is
forward
a
to
cool one. Have a great time and happy anniversary.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. We want to move on to some listener feedback. We do always want to hear what you think of everything. Keep our voicemail number handy if you get a chance. It is area code 920-3PACK-GO. Or you can send your voice message to feedback@PackersFanPodcast.com to be part of the podcast. The deadline for that, for voicemails, is Sunday nights before 9 p.m. Eastern. Again, Sunday nights before 9 p.m. We really do appreciate it. We've got our first one. Good old Andre. Let's see what he has to say.
Go, Pack! Go! Go, Pack! Go! Great to finally be back. I'm finally over the loss last season. Looking forward to this upcoming season. Haven't really been paying attention to what we did in the off season. I'm just glad football is back. I've missed the Packers. I've missed the Packers faithful. More importantly, I miss the podcast listeners. I miss Meg and her friend, calling every week. I miss the poems. I just miss you guys. I'm ready for a new year. I have nothing else to say but to say I love you guys. I love the podcast, love the fan base. Go, Pod, go!
What a way to kick off the season, Andre. Absolutely love it. We love you too, man. I am looking forward to the season, looking forward to hearing your voice every week. It's always great to hear from you, man. You got me pumped up, man. I got little goosebumps on that one.
That's some high power for preseason. Andre, we missed you too, and we're so glad that the season's back, mostly so we can hear your calls and stuff. Hearing from everybody is fantastic, and it's going to be a great season. Believe it or not, even though it's not even quite preseason yet, we got another voicemail as well.
Hey, Wayne and Scott, it's Megan. It's Monday morning. I hope I'm not too late, but I was just watching some of the Packers videos on the app, and one of them was an interview with Leroy Butler about his induction to the Hall of Fame, and I needed something to pump me up to call, so I wasn't just 6:30 in the morning, Monday morning, lack of energy, need coffee, Megan. And he was talking about the future guys that have to wait but will eventually get in, and he's like, well, Aaron Rodgers, that's a slam dunk. And I was like, yeah, it's a slam dunk. I don't know. It pumped me up. I'm so excited for the season. Good for him. Getting into the Hall of Fame. I did not make it to family night. I saw some pictures. It seemed like it was a lot of fun. I don't know who Steven is, but someone named Steven sent me 4 tickets to family night, and I really wanted to go, and I was off work, but I've been working a ton, and I just needed a break. So anyways, it looked like a lot of fun. But I had tickets to the home opener versus Chicago with one of my friends from work, who I will introduce to the podcast next month, so stay tuned for that. And oh my gosh, I forgot to get tickets, and I was scrambling, and the tickets that I had originally thought we were gonna get were just literally such nosebleeds, and I was like, okay, well, whatever, we'll make it work. And I forgot, and then I scrambled, and for $40 more found tickets in row 4, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Row 4, home opener versus Chicago. Let's go back, go baby! Woo!
Oh yeah, Megan is back in the house. So good to hear from you, Megan. And yes, Leroy Hall of Famer, and yeah, hearing him talk about Aaron Rodgers will be in the Hall of Fame someday. That'll get you amped up.
You mean Con Aaron?
Con Air, yeah. That was outrageous. Sorry to hear, Megan, that you missed family night, even though you had some free tickets. But even better, you've got tickets to the home opener, and you're going to introduce a new friend to us when you call in after the game. This is good stuff. Do you think there will be any repercussions from last year's "We Still Own You" and "I Still Own You"?
I mean, the journalists are going to talk about it for sure. I mean, there's no way that doesn't get brought up. It's just not possible. But
so cool.
I think they had a lot more fun with it than even the fans did. So.
Oh no, I had a lot of fun with it. I've been having fun with it ever since the moment it happened. And I'll continue to have fun. The hype is going to be extreme this year. We also had a poll in our Facebook group at PackersCommunity.com, as well as on Twitter at Packers Fan Pod. Which is your favorite Packers July/August activity this coming year? Is it Leroy Butler going into the NFL Hall of Fame? Is it camp and practice? Is it family night? Is it the preseason games? And we did have a write-in vote as well from listener Dan Dyler, Pack Sparrow. Just seeing all of the new names and faces is one of his favorite parts of July, August. How about you, Scott?
I mean, it's hard to not say Leroy Butler going into the NFL Hall of Fame. I mean, how can anything top that? But I will say I saw the most adorable video from Packer Family Night at Lambeau, where a little girl was offering players a little teacup of water, even though there was no water in it. She was handing all the players this little tiny teacup, and the players would actually walk by her and take it from her and quote unquote drink it, and then hand it back to her, and she would go Pack, go. It was just the most adorable thing, dude. I just the whole family night and how community driven the Packers organization and fans and players are is just an amazing thing. But as cute as that was, it's hard not to say Leroy Butler's induction. How about you?
And there's no taking away from Leroy going into the Hall of Fame. That is fantastic. But I really do, at least until midway through the first quarter, I love the preseason games because I'm seeing our team out there in their uniforms, not wearing, the red jerseys and stuff like that. Maybe the quarterbacks will, who knows. But, it just kind of ties in with what Dan Dyler added with seeing the new names and faces. Oh yeah, that's the guy we drafted in the third round. That's the guy from the second round and stuff like that. But the votes that came in, not surprisingly, 50% of the votes voted for Leroy Butler going into the Hall of Fame being their favorite activity this summer, followed by 19% voting for family night, 14% going with camp and practice, only 12% picking those preseason games, and then 5% just seeing the new names and faces, because we got to get used to these new names because some of them are going to be starters and stars in the near future.
Absolutely. And stay tuned in the future as we do these episodes each week during the regular season. We will be posting polls just like this one on Facebook and on Twitter. And if you'd like to join the Facebook group and be part of that conversation, let your voice be heard, please be sure you do so. We would love to have you over there, especially on game day when we sit and chat about the game in the middle of those conversations are great. And it's a ton of fun.
Absolutely. And I do want to thank everybody for their calls, their comments, their support of the show, and all that good stuff. Now, Scott, we don't need to hammer this into place right now, but have you given some thought into the 2022 season Wager O Fun? I have three-peated. What are we going to do for this upcoming season?
I am on a mission to get you to play Madden with me, so I'm probably going to stick with the same wager.
Until you win it?
I don't know if until I win it. Yes, because I need to do it. I need to win this year. Apparently, I just got to pick the Packers to win every game, and even though I know it's not going to happen, but we want it to happen. But no, I really want to see you play Madden. Plus, I think that would be super fun if we can figure out how to stream that and give everybody a link to watch us do it and just see. I'm not great at Madden, but I imagine it will be like a foreign language to you. And I just think that would be hilarious. And we can play Packers against Packers. So
we sure could. This could be maybe the launch of our Twitch channel.
There you go. The once a year Twitch channel of the Packers Fan Podcast. Let's do it. What are you gonna make me do?
I'm still thinking on that, but I could use the listeners' help. So you can give us a call or comment in the Facebook group. The phone number, even though it's the off season for a little while longer, you can give us a call at 920-3-PACK-GO. Don't forget the +1 before it. +1 920-3-PACK-GO. And I also do want to find a way to have listener involvement in that as well. Some sort of have the listeners try to beat us as well and get some involvement on that side. I think that'll be fun. Not sure how we'll incorporate that just yet, but we will look at that because I'm looking forward to being the 4-time champion of the Wager O Fun. It's going to be epic.
I'm not. I don't want to sing again.
That was definitely one of the most popular ones ever, though. Talk like a fan. You added the effects and synced up your own backing track a cappella. It was fantastic.
Did I tell you that my students found that on YouTube and like will just randomly play that in the middle of my classroom because they think it's hilarious?
It is hilarious. I know your principal's a Bears fan, right? You had that bet that one season.
And she was a good sport. She wore the jersey. She wore a Rodgers jersey.
Perhaps she would like to play your song on the morning announcements sometime this football season.
I highly doubt that would happen. I don't want to do that either. That is.
I'll give her a call. We'll send a message to the school. That would just kill you.
Oh yeah.
So we'll have to see how that goes. Since we spoke last, I did have a special appearance a couple of weeks ago on TPE Network Presents docuseries podcast. My buddy Hank Davis over there, he had an episode. It was 9-10 minutes, but it was fantastic. He put it together so well. This episode was devoted all to the glory of Titletown, USA. He had me on to share my Packers fan origin story, a little other Packers goodness, and just the whole production that Hank put together with his voiceover and the sound effects. It was just pretty epic. It's a great 9-10 minutes to listen to. TPE Network presents Titletown, USA.
And my other podcast, The Gaming Outsider, is still live and thriving. In fact, we just recorded our 409th episode.
Wow.
I was entertaining some out-of-town guests for this one, so I was absent on this episode. But Zach and Alyssa talked about how they kind of had a little discussion about how old a game has to be in order to be considered retro. So that would be a good, interesting conversation. Zach also talked about a game he played called Live Alive. That is actually a Japanese role-playing game from the 90s that was localized for the first time in the United States. It was just released last week. It sounds super fun. Plus, you hear a really cool story about a pretty massive purchase I got on for my personal collection. It's definitely the most expensive piece in my collection of nerddom. So stay tuned for that. Value for value. You hear us say that phrase each and every week, but to paraphrase Adam and John at the No Agenda podcast, quote, the success of a podcast is all about listeners sharing their time, their talent, and their treasure. Voicemails, Facebook group involvement, using our Fanatics affiliate link at PackersFanPodcast.com, and even direct financial support through Patreon, which we do very much appreciate. You can find details for that at PackersFanPodcast.com and use the support us link. And if you want to get more information, and we really do appreciate the help. First off, I want to give a shout out to Mr. Dan Dialer, also known as Captain Pack Sparrow. You heard him earlier in the episode. Thanks for joining us on the show to talk about your Hall of Fame trip, and Go Pack Goes for your Jim Ringo level support of the podcast. Also, Jay Walters, thank you, and Go Pack Goes for your AR12 level patronage.
Also, Go Pack Goes and thanks going out to our Brett Favre level supporters, Miguel Ramirez at the Opposites Attract podcast, Jeff Summerfield, Andre in LA, Colin Nolan in Ireland, David Simmons and Scott Boers, and supporting the old PFP at the Curly Lambeau level. Go Pack Goes and thank yous to Hank Davis at the TPE Network, Matt Haig, Beth Mentick, and Joe Christensen. We really appreciate all of your support. And if you're interested in becoming a patron of the Packers Fan Podcast, check out the details at PackersFanPodcast.com. Just look for the Support Us button on the right-hand side of the site.
Just a quick shout out too to Mr. Scott Boers. I actually had the pleasure of meeting him in person over the summer. He was in town, and it was an awesome time to hang out and have lunch with him. So really good to see you. As a reminder, everybody, we are the Unofficial Packers Fan Podcast, not yet affiliated with the NFL or the Green Bay Packers, but we would love to be. If you guys are listening, please follow the Packers Fan Podcast where you listen to your shows, and please tell a friend, get the word out there. We would love to get more people listening.
And follow us on Twitter at Packers Fan Pod. Follow you, Scott, at GoCast Scott, and follow me at Wayne Henderson. And to sail us right into the preseason, it's listener Dan Dialer.
Hey, Packers Fan Podcast listeners. This is your cheesehead from Indianapolis, Dan. And I have just two words for you. Go, 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 Pack, go!